short video about how you might take yoga from your mat into your daily life. The reality is we spend far more time away from the mat than we do on it. But the principles we learn on our yoga mat can be taken into our daily life to try and help improve our health and particularly to improve our posture. So I'm standing on my mat and I'm standing in bare feet and I've got some of my yoga kit on, but that doesn't mean you have to be dressed as well, stood on your mat to practice standing well. I often say to my students, it seems quite easy to introduce bad habits to your life, so change your mindset and introduce some good ones. We should be standing for a minimum of 4 hours a day. There's a study that says if you spend less than 4 hours a day standing or in motion, that actually it's very bad for your blood pressure and your health. So first of all, you need to identify how you stand. I came to yoga with a lower back problem. I know I naturally stand with my bottom stuck out. Okay, that would be my natural stance. If I take my hands away, you can see bottom stuck out. So I know I need to tilt my pelvis under. Take the opportunity, if you have a full length mirror in your house, to have a look and see how you stand. Maybe you always have your head to one side, maybe you have a shoulder higher. It can sometimes be easier for someone else to identify how you stand badly, and then you can work on correcting it. And the more familiar you get with correcting how you stand or any particular bad posture habit, the easier it becomes to correct it. Your mind might just go there and you think, oh, wait a moment, let's stand tall, let's drop the shoulders. We practice Tadasana, mountain posture in yoga, bringing those feet in as close together as we can. The basic principle most of the time is feet no wider than hip width, and I think of that as the centre line of your hip to the centre line of your ankle, rather than outer edges being in alignment. When you're next standing, whether you're standing in a queue, whether you're waiting to pay for something, whether you're on the phone chatting, maybe you're just waiting for the kettle to boil, have a think about how you're standing. Doesn't matter whether you've got shoes on or not. A point about shoes, try and wear different shoes every day. Not only does it give your shoes an opportunity to breathe and for any perspiration to release from your shoes, it also trains your foot to not always be comfortable in just that one shoe. So if you know that you always wear heels, try and wear flats. I know, chaps, you might not want to wear flats. You might not want to wear heels, but try and change the type of shoe. Not always wearing a running shoe, not always wearing a heeled shoe, not always wearing an open shoe. Okay, so try and adjust your footwear. If you have to wear a specific type of shoe for work, maybe it's possible to have 2 pairs. So the shoe takes a lot of the work out of the foot, which is why when we stand in our yoga and we try and spread our toes and spread the weight through the foot, it's more noticeable. So it may be when you get home in the evening, you change out of your work wear, you might want to just take a moment working through your feet and standing tall. If you don't go out to work, maybe you want to do this when you're in your pajamas or when you're brushing your teeth. So think first of all about your base and where your feet are, whether you've got your weight equally through your feet. It will become more natural. If that's the only thing you're going to practice for the moment, just become aware of your feet. Whenever you're standing, have I got my weight balanced through my feet? If you try and take too much on at once, then you're more likely to fail. If you just spend a week thinking about, I'm standing, how is the weight balanced through my feet? Okay, that can sometimes start to correct other things automatically. So if we stand with one hip out or leaning against something, you'll notice you don't have the weight down through both feet. So just being aware of the weight through the feet can lead on to thinking about the rest of your posture. So foot position, where are they? Where is the weight down through my feet? Have I got the weight balanced through both legs? Once you're familiar with balancing the weight through your feet, getting the weight equally into each foot through the little toe side, big toe side, and into both sides of the heels. And you might need to work on lifting the arch. Obviously, if your shoes support the arch, that won't be necessary. So once we're familiar with the feet, the distance, the weight through them, think about your knees next. So if you have hyperextension, you might lock your knees out so that feels that the knees have gone behind, and you can see this tips the pelvis out. So maybe a little softness in the knees if you tend to hyperextend. And do think of lengthening up, so growing tall through your legs. That means that we've engaged with the leg muscles rather than just allowing them to be. Ideally, your knees want to face forwards, and you might need to use a little draw through the hip muscles to bring those knees to face forwards. Once you've got used to activating your leg muscles and having your knees forwards, think about your hips. So often the pelvis will be skewed. Often ladies suffer from this where you've carried a child on hip. You might be unbalanced. And that leads to lower back problems. So feet first, then legs, then hips. You might find that you need to work more into the lower back if you've got a tight side to be able to release those hips to feel balanced. Again, this is something you can stand in front of the mirror and have a look. Is one side of the waist higher than the other? Okay, someone might be able to help you to let you know where your level. So we've got left, right level, and of course we've got front, back level. So whether we have our bottom out or whether some people tend to collapse into the lower back. I show these positions extreme and using my hands to emphasise where the position is. Obviously, if you're standing in the supermarket queue, you're unlikely to be doing this. I don't know. Personal choice. And sometimes, if the hips don't feel quite right, taking the feet a little further apart to give yourself that movement. Okay. The next thing, when we tend to say about the hips, is people will start holding the breath at this point because they're trying to adjust their hips by pulling the tummy muscles in, lengthening the lower back, and that brings us to holding the breath. So do make sure you're breathing. I'll do another one of these short videos on breathing. Feet, knees, hips. Then trying to lengthen. So often we collapse into our hips. What happens is we just kind of stand quite lazily and a little bit slumped. Okay, for our posture, for our breathing, for the benefit of our lower back, we want to try and lift the rib cage out away from the hips. Create yourself a waist. There might be a little hold going on with the abdominal muscles. Okay, everybody wants to have a flat belly, it seems. Our bellies aren't generally flat. They are a little bit rounded. So have a think. Can you lift that rib cage away? Can you create some space? And you'll find yourself lengthening the back. So this is something that often gents have to work on. So if you have a bit of a belly from beer drinking maybe, then you need to work on those back muscles and those tummy muscles. It's a little bit like we've been squeezed so that the rib cage lifts up and we feel that creation of the waist. If you really struggle to identify that, have a little stretch up. This stretching up should bring the rib cage away from the hips. If you suffer from a lower back issue when you're standing, think about tilting that pelvis, maybe taking the feet apart and finding that position. As I say, don't work on all of this necessarily at once. If you're introducing it into your daily life, pick the bit that you need to work on most. Start there, get it to be a good habit, and once you've got that good habit, add something else in. So having stood upright, next thing is what's going on through our shoulders or our upper body. So you might spend all day at the computer and you might be a little bit rounded. You might be starting to drop and hunch into the back. You might, in that case, need to bring your shoulders directly over your hips. So if you let go of your arms, do they hang in front of the body, to the side, or behind? That will give you some idea of whereabouts the shoulder joint is currently sitting. So we're upright through the spine if we can, creating that space between the rib cage and the hips, and trying to draw those shoulders outwards. They're away from each other, but not necessarily back. If you draw the shoulders back, of course, that sticks the chest out, and then you might be tempted to tip your bottom out. So try and be open so that you're not rolling forwards. Typically taller people or people at computers will have this forward stance. Okay, shorter people like myself might have a slightly backward stance if we're often talking to people who are taller than us. So open through the chest, and also softening those shoulders down away from our ears. So tension will bring those shoulders up to the ears, and we want to soften them down. They want to slope a little bit. Again, if you carry a heavy bag on one shoulder, maybe you carry a big laptop around with you, maybe you carry a case. So think about bringing those shoulders to be level and allowing them to relax. And this is a sense of the shoulder blades moving down the body. So we want to feel the chest is open so that we can breathe freely. Whenever we're curling and standing badly, we're putting pressure on the lungs. So we want to stand tall. We don't want to be leaning back either. That's not going to do us any favours in the long run. And then we get to the neck. Okay, I've just tried to correct seeing myself in the screen, and of course lefts and rights are opposite when I'm looking in the screen. The head wants to be directly over the shoulders. So what I mean by that is the chin isn't jutting forwards, and neither have we got this collapsing in the back of the neck. The head is very heavy. I think we all know that these days. So as much as we can bring it centred, that's better for the neck because of the weight of the head. And of course the neck bones are quite small for holding this weight. So try and have your neck long, as if you've been lifted under the jaw or under the ears. And think about having your chin level. Often people that work at a screen might have the chin tucked forwards. Very often people are forwards going people and the whole neck is forwards. I know you can visit osteopaths and alike to click you into place, but see what you can do for yourself outside of those appointments, off your mat. It may be you've got an injury that's causing this, so please never force your body, particularly your neck. But we want the neck to be level, neck long, chin level. Maybe put a mark on the wall. You know how you draw when children are growing to a certain height. Find something that's eye level. Might be a shelf, might be a particular book or ornament you can look at to find where your eye level is correct, and that will bring your chin level. That should take us all the way through, standing nice and upright, whether we're on or off the mat. Okay, so start from your base. Whenever you're standing and your mind comes to it, am I standing upright? Have I brought my yoga into my daily life? Do I know that I have a bad habit that I'd like to correct? When you stand taller, you feel more confident. You also tend to breathe better, so it's better for your general health. And of course, we can work from there to release any other muscle strain. So take the time. I'm standing. Am I standing well? Weight through the feet. Feet comfortable distance apart, weight spread. Strong legs, knees forwards. Position of the pelvis. If I created a waist, lifting my ribcage out of my hips. Are my shoulders centred and relaxed? Is my chin level? Is my neck low? Do I feel nice and tall, or do I feel balanced? If you feel something is straining and stretching, something feels odd, it may just be that your posture has been in that incorrect position for so long that that's where your body thinks it should be. So take time to look in a mirror, figure out what you need to adjust. When you can, practice in front of the mirror adjusting your posture. Might just be for 30 seconds of a morning or an evening. And see if you can bring yoga into your life to help you to stand taller, to feel better about yourself, and to create a really good posture, one step at a time. Thank you very much. Namaste.